Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared, and we are about to play Taelmoor. Let's take a look. I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. For your convenience, I've added chapter timestamps in the description to the different sections of the tutorial. I'm doing this tutorial based on early versions of the rulebook using a pre-release prototype of the game. The game will hit Kickstarter to be crowdfunded in July 2021. What you see here may change in the final production, including some rules. And if you want to hear what the game designers said about it, check out Jay and I's interview with the Delv Bros on our Mentor Minutes podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the Meeple Mentor channel and hit the notification bell below the video so you don't miss any of my latest content. Taelmoor is really unlike any other board game on the market right now. It features dungeon exploration one tile at a time where players work together to uncover the secrets around them. Taelmoor has a meticulously created web app that functions in real time for all party members on their own phones or sharing devices in a hot seat mode. Using QR scanning technology or through typing in the codes for things, players will have to interact with everything around them in various ways. Talk with those you come across in the dungeons and lairs to learn secrets and how to solve puzzles or engage in combat with those who would seek to harm you. Cooperatively search the dungeon and uncover items, hidden passageways, and side quests while following the story to its conclusion. In Taelmoor, it's the age of wonders and marvels. The great city of Vale was the envy of the world thanks to the 9 guilds' efforts. The whole continent of Taelmoor prospered until the desolation. The eager Melokai grew hungry for knowledge of the arcane, but their experiments were reckless. The magic quarter within Vale was devastated by an explosion caused by one of their experiments gone wrong. With the city in shambles, the Stoutsmen are both the peacekeepers and source of the Inquisition, hunting down all the remaining magic users. Today, Taelmoor is a dangerous place, full of intrigue and unspeakable horrors. This is where you come in, intrepid adventurers in a fallen world. This is Taelmoor. The amount of content in this game is staggering, but don't worry, most of it is handled within the developed website or web app coming soon. The game will use a combination of physical components on the table and the free mobile app, which each player should access now. One player should initiate the game first, with other players joining in to the created session. Go to tlm.gg on your phone's internet browser. By the time this game launches, there will also be a mobile app. From this page, you must select a scenario to play. For your first game, select the Initiation Test, which acts as a tutorial for how the game works, letting everyone experience the main mechanisms and gameplay before diving deep. I should also mention here that they have a free print and play available that allows gamers to try the game for themselves and play the tutorial and part 1 of a scenario without need for any purchase. Additionally, you can try it online via Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia. Direct links to these are on their website. Once you've decided you want to continue or get the full game experience with the published components, definitely purchase the game to support the designers and get the full game. New scenarios will be released over time, with expansions and more to come in the future. This tutorial video covers how to access the game before Taelmoor's official launch, so that will change a little bit. Okay, so once the host player has selected a scenario, the other players should join by using the custom created URL link. You'll be given a game ID, so the link will be tlm.gg/#GameID. When entering the game session, your first task is to select a class among those available. When hitting the Scan a Class or Add Another Character button, each player will get to scan the QR code of one of the 6 Taelmoor class cards. No class may be selected more than once. Each class is balanced with their own unique strengths and weaknesses, so choose the one you most prefer to play as. Even if playing solo, a game of Taelmoor must have at least 2 characters. After everyone's selected a class, you should see everyone as logged in on the app. Once everyone's ready, any player may press the Begin Game button to start. Everyone will be using their own device the whole game, and will start receiving the game updates simultaneously. Taelmoor supports hot seat gameplay. All additional setup with components needed for your scenario are spelled out through the in-game messages. You'll want to gather the 16 combat cards for each player's class. Set aside the 6 advanced cards, as these are used when the character levels up. Shuffle the starting 10 and put them next to your class board. Everyone should also have a reference card that shows the basic actions. Each dungeon floor tile is labeled, so find the ones specified and place them in the center of the table. Any extra pieces needed or abilities characters have will be described for each player. These will be unique for each scenario. Gather what is asked for and collect them near you. Each class card has an inventory slot you can place things at. You can separate the components into different supply pools to help you find them. There's standees for characters and enemies, tokens for items, door tiles, passageway tiles, and of course the double-sided map tiles. One of the first messages on the app you'll receive are details of your character's backstory. Although most of it is flavor text for immersion, pay attention to bold text in particular for special skills unique to your character. The party sticks together room to room, so there's one party location token to indicate your current location. Additionally, you'll have a party inventory card to access items you've collected. As any game text, instructions, story, or character dialogue comes up on the app, read everything aloud. In fact, you're encouraged to roleplay a bit and give voices to the characters. The general rule is, if you scan it, you read it. Silly voices are encouraged. Anytime there is text highlighted in blue, it can be tapped to see additional lore about the world of Taelmoor. Taelmoor is a cooperative game with players taking turns being in control of the scanner. Each phone can, of course, scan QR codes, but only when the app says it's their turn to be in control. It basically means it's their decision to take an action. The party should discuss what they want to accomplish or scan, but the person in control of the scanner will have the final say. The app will tell you when it's your turn and when it's another player's turn. If it's not your turn, it won't let you scan. Often during the game, the app will instruct you to find various component pieces and place them on the table. Any player can do this, but it's recommended to have one player do it while another reads the message from the app, just to speed up the game. QR code scanning, if you're not familiar, is using your phone's camera to point at the square codes with the black and white images. You may have to tell your phone to allow the app to use your phone's camera. After scanning an item, action, map tile, or otherwise, the app will give you feedback depending on the situation. The message will appear on each player's device reporting the results. Everyone should read it for reference. It's recommended for the active player to read it aloud for more immersion. Some tips for getting a good scan are to play in a well-lit room without sharp shadows, hold the camera parallel to the QR code, and experiment with distance. Sometimes it works better at a greater distance. If you have trouble scanning something, or you don't want to use your camera to scan the codes, don't worry, you can always manually punch in the ID for everything. In the app, press the keyboard button in the upper left corner of the scanner to bring up the keyboard. Type in the unique 2-letter code found on the piece. It will do the same thing. When you are in control of scanning, you get to choose an available action to do and resolve it. Just scan the QR code or enter the ID code to activate it. The bottom of the app will show a variety of exploration actions available as buttons. The inspect action is used to search, examine, or otherwise take a closer look at something or someone. Inspecting is all about gathering information and does not affect the target. The interact action is contextual depending on the player, the target, and the situation. So this would be the action to select to pull a switch, press a button, pick up a magic gem, or start a dialogue with a friendly entity. Interacting usually alters the target in some way. The move action affects the whole party and will move everyone to a new room. Just scan the room you wish to move to. You don't even need to be adjacent to it. As long as the room has been revealed, you can scan it to move directly there. Sometimes, though, you could get intercepted on the way, which the app will let you know about. The party location token should be moved to the new room to remind you where you are. Items can be used as an action as well. Each one will have a QR code or ID code on it. To use an item, press the Use Item button and scan the item's QR code or enter the ID to the app. Then you must scan your target where the item will be used. For example, to unlock a door using a key, first scan the key and then scan the door, which is the target. The Pass Turn action button lets a player skip their turn to give the next player their turn without doing any of their own actions. This could be used if one of your party members has a special skill you need in order to overcome a particular challenge. Just pass the turn so they can do what is needed. There's also a wait action that's similar. Time goes by as if you had passed to someone else, but you still maintain your own turn. This is useful in situations where you need to wait something out, like hiding while a guard goes by. When a new area is revealed, you will be directed by a game message to place one or more map tiles out. These should be added with their text in the same orientation as the rest of the existing map tiles. This will help keep the dungeon laid out on the table the same as the scenario knows it to be. The top of the map tiles can be considered north. Most map tiles represent a single room, but occasionally you'll encounter larger rooms that use multiple tiles to represent the whole room. Just follow the small diagram next to the tile's two-letter code. Map tiles often have points of interest on them, either printed on the artwork or added to the tile as various tokens and standees. The app will instruct you when to place pieces out, so have any player look for what's needed while the other player continues reading the message and app text. All of these pieces are interactable using the available actions shown as a row of buttons at the bottom of the app. These may be in addition to the main actions already available as I discussed. In between each room, doors and passageways are placed. The passageways are spacers that just divide rooms from each other. Meanwhile, the doors have QR codes on them and can be interacted with like any other game piece. Usually the doors are locked by some mechanism, puzzle, or key. The items will be circular tokens that can be present in a room, collected to a party's inventory, or collected in a player's specific inventory. The standees are typically all characters in the game known as entities, such as monsters, foes, and friendly strangers of Taelmoor. These standees also occupy rooms and can sometimes be moved from room to room. The non-hostile characters can generally be talked to. Typically, you are the one to be initiating dialogue with friendly characters. By using the interact action and scanning the character in the room, you'll begin the discussion. The app will replace all the action buttons with two options, End Dialogue and Ask About. By selecting Ask About, you can scan literally anything in the game you've discovered to get their opinion or input on it, except the combat cards, I suppose. It could be an item, room, door, character, or even your class card. They'll give you whatever information they have on it. Many times, dialogue will reveal more about the story, the world of Taelmoor, and clues to solve various puzzles. While in a dialogue, the whole party can participate and can suggest what to ask about. This is of course encouraged, but also having a certain party member ask the questions may give you different results. Sometimes it's about having the right character asking the right questions. One party character may have a particular insight or charm to help uncover more information. To end the dialogue, simply press the End Dialogue button. The party then can return to exploration with other things. The combat of Taelmoor is a unique experience. Each party member will see the combat happen on their device, watching and participating in real time with the enemies on screen. Combat is usually initiated when the party moves to a room with enemies present. The app will immediately switch to combat mode, and you'll see the enemies on your phone or tablet. The battle map shows your party at the bottom and the enemies to defeat at the top. The interactions in combat happens by playing cards from your character's combat deck. Play them by pressing the Choose button to scan them. Each character will be displayed with various icons and graphics to see the current state of the fight. Their name is shown in the box below their image, with their ability speed next to it. Higher speed abilities go first. Their current armor value is shown in the shield to the left. When hit, their armor is drained before their health. The current health of the character is in the bar below, showing their number of HP left. If their health drops to 0, they'll be incapacitated. Any status effects currently affecting the character will be shown with an icon below their health bar. At the top of the character's image, you'll find the ability type, target, and effects of their current state or actions. The ability type indicates attack, defense, support, curse, or special. The target number shown indicates which enemy or ally is targeted. The effect on the right shows how much damage, armor, or other effect is being generated. Players will be selecting their abilities and attack options via their combat cards. Each character starts with a unique collection of 10 combat cards. Shuffle your combat deck before each combat. When combat starts, players should draw a hand of 5 cards. If you run out of cards in the deck, shuffle the discards into a new draw deck. Everyone's combat deck can be improved as characters level up. Each combat card is labeled and has a QR code and 2-digit ID code for manual input. Cards are played from your hand by scanning the code and placing them face up in a discard pile. Each combat card has a name at the top with the type of ability below it. It can be basic or advanced, and each one belongs to one of Taelmoor's classes. A basic explanation of the card's effects are written at the bottom of the card. In the middle of the card, below its image, you'll find its stats and effects. This number is the amount of damage it does to the targeted enemy. Below that is the amount of armor defense it grants to a targeted ally. On the right, you'll see the speed value. This is how fast the ability will activate on the battle map after scanning. Higher speed cards will go first. Remember that the combat happens in real time, and choosing abilities and using them will be more effective by hitting enemies with lower or higher speed attacks. Below that is the target icon. It will indicate which enemy or ally is targeted by the card. Combat happens in rounds. In each round, each enemy and party member will select and play a single ability, then refill their hands. A round proceeds through 4 distinct phases. First, the enemies choose an ability to use on a player. Above the enemy's head in the battle arena, you'll see their intent, so players can plan their actions with full knowledge of the enemy's plans. The parties should review and discuss their combat strategy given the cards in their hands. Each player must choose an ability to use. Players can play a card in any order by pressing the choose button, scanning the chosen card, and discarding it to their own discard pile. If multiple players are using a single device, scan the cards in the order you want to apply them. Once all players have scanned an ability, the action phase begins. Combat proceeds with all abilities used in order of their speed. Highest speed goes first. The app handles all of this and will show you when the ability will trigger. Characters will gain armor, take damage, and suffer other effects during this phase. After the action phase completes, players will draw cards for the next round. However, some of the played cards may have a card draw effect, such as Meditate or Scry. Resolve these first, then let everyone draw so they have 5 cards in their hand. If their deck is empty, shuffle the discards into a new deck and keep drawing. The combat always ends in one of 2 ways. Either the party successfully defeats all the enemies, or all the players die. If the enemies all died, you'll get to read a message detailing the aftermath of the fight. The health of all party members will be restored to full, and any incapacitated players are revived. If every player character dies, you'll see a game over screen with a try again button to undo your last action. By pressing it, you'll return to just before the action that triggered the combat. You are welcome to try again, or something different, to avoid combat. Abilities and targets are always linked to each other. Each card you play will have specific targets it affects. Since each card operates differently, sometimes the ability specifies a single target, random enemy, or can sometimes have an effect that hits your teammates too. The cards will use iconography in the bottom right corner of its stats to show the target or targets possible. A circle with a quarter chopped out will target the top left, top right, or bottom right enemy or ally in the battle map. The dice icon means it targets a random enemy or ally. The heart icon will target the enemy or ally with the most health. The broken heart icon targets the one with the least health. The flexing arm icon means it targets the enemy or ally with the most damaging attack this round. The single player icon means the ability targets the character themselves. With 3 player icons together, it targets every ally simultaneously. If you see the group of 3 horned people, the ability targets every enemy at once. The player icon with a sword in front is Revenge, so will target every enemy or ally who is attacking that character this round. Try talking with your teammates and seeing what kind of ability combos you can come up with for the most efficient combat. Know that the targets are not final until the moment an ability activates during the action phase. The expected target may change based on the speed it takes for the ability to trigger. In this kind of free-form exploration puzzle-solving game, you can continue playing until either your party all dies or the app tells you you've completed the scenario. Each scenario has special objectives like defeating the dragon or stealing special treasure. Completing the scenario objectives completes the scenario successfully. The developers are talking about including an achievement system, so check their website for details if that comes about. Since the game is a narrative game focusing on exploration, you should dive into dangerous situations regularly. You won't ever be forced to restart a scenario, but some choices can cause death. If the party dies, you'll see a try again button that will undo your last action. You may also stop playing a scenario without finishing it. Just write down the session code and the URL used to join the scenario initially. You'll be able to jump right back in. Currently, I'm told the URL is good for about a week before it expires. The combat decks can be rubber banded together or put in baggies, so there's not much else that you need to worry about. The app will help you get back in quickly. There is a solo mode also included in the game, where the player will control 2 characters or more through one device. There's no other balance or adjustments needed to play it solo. Expansions for the game are planned and will include all new locations across the world of Taelmoor and the city-state of Vale. Check the video description for links to the Taelmoor website and see when the Kickstarter launches and ends. I'll be including the Kickstarter campaign page link in the video's description. The Meeple Mentor channel is now part of the board game community, the Gateway Network, made up of great upcoming board game content creators. The network includes Instagrammers, podcasters, YouTubers, artists, and more. Click the link in the video's description or head over to the Gateway Network's Instagram to find out more. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.